Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, aka DFS Dudes, and we're here to present you our NFL Week 6 wide receiver picks. If you're new to this channel, please make sure you click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NFL, NBA, MLB videos. And if you haven't already, go check out our new website at www.dfscheatsheet.com. We have all the tools, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, everything that you need to help you compete with the pros day in and day out. So check it out, www.dfscheatsheet.com. So how you doing out there, Jeremy?
I'm good, man. I am really good. Excited to do a wide receiver video. One of the more glamorous positions that everybody looks to try to figure out where they're going to pay up or how they're going to save money. I like doing wide receiver picks.
Right. No, definitely. So before we get into these picks, real quick, if you guys haven't already, go check it out. We have our NBA pre-order special up right now. $200. It gets you all season plus playoffs. You get my daily cash lineup for FanDuel and DraftKings. Plus, you get complete access to our optimizer, all of our content, everything. $200, one-time fee. Hey, it's a steal. We absolutely crushed NBA. You're going to make your money back quickly, and you're going to thank us later on. So go check out our NBA Luxury Box special on our website at dfscheatsheet.com. And you want to get it started there, or you want me to get it started?
Yeah, you can go. I can go. I mean, the first guy I'm going to go with is Jarvis Landry.
Go ahead. You already got it. Go ahead. Spotlight's on you.
So Jarvis Landry, for a couple of reasons. I think early on he was a really popular play, especially when Baker Mayfield was announced going to be the starting quarterback, and after what Baker Mayfield did in the one half of football that earned him the starting job. People really kind of flocked to Landry. He was a really popular play. He didn't really deliver, right? I mean, he didn't deliver that monster game that everybody was really expecting him to deliver. But Jarvis Landry has not been an underwhelming wide receiver. We get him at $6,900. I think he's a perfect mid-tier play. You look at his season totals, 56 targets, which is fifth, 29 catches and 1 touchdown. The 1 touchdown is really what's kept him from having some monster games. You know, you look, and he's really getting a steady diet of targets, 10 targets, 10 targets, 14 targets. Only one game, that was the New Orleans game, where he only had 7 targets. He's constantly above 65, 70 yards. He's a real move the chains wide receiver. And you look at his point totals, 9.4, 11.4, 16.3, 9.4. This guy's a touchdown away from having really solid weeks. I look at the Chargers. I loved Amari Cooper last week. That game just didn't really play out the way that I kind of thought the game flow would go in that. But the Chargers have the worst DVOA against number 1 wide receivers. And, you know, it's a guy I think is kind of under the radar this week. You look at that game as well. It's an early game. It gives you opportunity to throw in a mid-tier wide receiver, $6,900, get some exposure this early game. And I just think that it's a spot where people were on him for so long. I think he starts to kind of go like in that category of you don't want to be late to play him, right? You don't want to miss him now when he does go off and then kind of jump back on because people kind of fall into the wait and see with Jarvis Landry. This guy's still everything everybody thought he was. He's had all of the opportunities. He just hasn't scored to really take his point total over the top to have that monster game.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the pick. Landry's a guy, I mean, he gets his targets, and when he gets them, he usually makes the most of them. You know, just like when we talked about the Raiders last week, definitely like attacking that Chargers defense. You know, pretty much Chargers are one of those teams, just like the Steelers. Any team that I feel they go against is pretty much going to be a shootout. I mean, that's just kind of how their defenses are. So, yeah, no, I like the call on Jarvis Landry. Very fair price tag. He's going to have that game, you know, the monster game we're talking about, and he's going to jump up to close to 8,000 with a lot of the other, you know, top-tier wide receivers. So this is a good buy low opportunity, and like you said, the Chargers are their last place against wide receiver 1. So great spot for Landry. They move him around the field. Yeah, good play for sure. So me and my first wide receiver, I'm going to start at the little higher end. A lot of people are going to be looking at Antonio Brown. A lot of people are going to be looking at Hopkins because of their names. You know, I'm going to save 500 off Brown, 400 off Hopkins. I'm going to go right back to the well with Adam Thielen. I played him last week, and he didn't disappoint us. You know, he got us 21 fantasy points. Very good outing. He got just as much as the other guys pretty much. You know, and this guy, he less than them. So really quick on Adam Thielen, he's tied. He's tied for the most targets in the league. He leads the league in receptions. He's second in the league in receiving yards. You know, another thing I really like about him is he's a big play receiver. Plus, he's a move of chains guy like Jarvis Landry. And Minnesota's run game, they're not running the ball at all. They're not having any success with running the ball. So Thielen will get in the slot, and he'll get a quick 8-9 route slant to get a first down, etc. It's not about he has to hit those big plays. And he still hasn't got less than 10 targets in any game this season. So I definitely think Adam Thielen is a really, really good play on this slate.
I like Thielen. The only thing that I'm wondering about is Patrick Peterson, right? You know, Adam Thielen is the cog in the wheel there. He, like you said, he's the move the chains guy. He definitely has out-targeted Stephon Diggs. He has more receptions than Stephon Diggs does. I like both receivers in that game going against the worst defense, the team that's the worst in total defense in the NFL. I actually think both receivers have a really good day here. I just wonder about Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson, is he going to move around? Is he going to stay on one side with Stephon Diggs? What are they going to do there? I think if you find a situation where Patrick Peterson plays Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen will have a monster game.
Oh, for sure. And what I honestly think is I think they'll go back and forth. I think, he'll stay on one side. Sometimes he'll have Thielen. Sometimes he'll have Diggs. But they move those guys around. Sometimes they're on the outside. Sometimes one will go in the slot. I mean, they're moved around a lot. So, I mean, I don't see a situation where, one's just going to get shut out by Patrick Peterson. And also, too, you got the tight end of Rudolph. He's a good target. He's a good tight end as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of weapons for Kirk Cousins to throw to. And so I just don't see, Peterson kind of just locking in on one person. But yeah, no, so he's going to be my higher end play going against Arizona. So who do you got for us next?
So I'm going to go back to the well, and what I'm going to do with this situation is I'm going to mention two players, right? And my going back to the well guy is Cooper Kupp. He's too cheap. He's just too cheap. But he left the game with a concussion. That's why I like the situation. I'm going to give you kind of the situation play there, right? So Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp left that game against Seattle with concussions. They're both in protocol. I know that Sean McVay has said that he thinks Cooper Kupp will clear protocol in time to play in this game. It's a concussion. You don't know. Just tell you from a coaching standpoint, you have no clue what's going to happen with concussion protocol because there's so much stuff that goes into it. You've got to be symptom-free to get to the next step. Any symptoms restarts the protocol all over again. So I like the situation, one, because Cooper Kupp is, for all the reasons I keep listing, this guy, it seems like we've constantly gotten him in all 5 weeks at that $6,000 to $6,500 price point. He's only $6,800. The guy's an absolute monster out of the slot. He's a monster downfield. He's their number one red zone target. But if Cooper Kupp can't play and if Brandon Cooks can't play because they don't clear protocol, somebody has to catch the football. And I think this could be a Robert Woods week. Robert Woods showed in that game versus Seattle that he is just like he was back at SC, right? The guy can carry the ball. He can be used in multiple ways. He had 2 carries versus Seattle for 53 rushing yards. And then he still caught, I believe, 5 of his 7 targets. So I like the situation, 1, for Cooper Kupp if he plays. 2, if Cooper Kupp can't play and Brandon Cooks can't play, somebody has to get targets. And I like Robert Woods to be moved around that Rams offense and they'll find him ways to get the ball and create explosive plays.
Yeah, no, I definitely like I like both picks. I like, so pretty much we're saying Brandon Cooks is going to be out this week, correct? Is kind of where we're at.
We don't know what's going to happen with that situation, and we really won't know until tomorrow, till the first injury report comes out. But it sounds to me like the Cooper Kupp concussion deal may have been more preventative than he actually had a concussion. I think, once they say they've got something to do with their head, they automatically go to the medical tent, they're evaluated, etc. And then the doctors determine, hey, based off your baseline, we're going to throw you in concussion protocol. You're not going back in the game. So we don't really know where they're at in that stage from Sunday until the first injury report comes Wednesday. Brandon Cooks could clear and Cooper Kupp could clear concussion protocol. If that happens, my number one guy in the situation is Cooper Kupp.
Right. No,
I like the matchup. I like Cooper Kupp's price. I like this mid-tier wide receiver range this week. I like everything about Cooper Kupp. But because I like the situation, I like the matchup. If Cooper Kupp can't play and Brandon Cooks can't play, they will find a way to be creative with Robert Woods.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm definitely on board. I think that's a really, really good analysis on the situation. I really don't got much else to say. I mean, it makes sense, especially if both of the other guys are out and it's just Robert Woods. Oh, yeah. Hey, lock me up for probably 60% at least because he's going to get the targets. So me moving on to my next play is going to be Tyler Boyd. He busted last week, and so I think a lot of people are going to jump off of him. He was 50% owned in cash games. And the game flow just kind of didn't really go his way, but I'm going to go right back to the well. The guy's been good. He's been good on the season. I think this game is definitely going to be a shootout going against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, just like I said about the Chargers, pretty much any game they're in, I'll always think of it as a shootout because their defense just isn't good. Tyler Boyd, he's the number 2 receiver on a really good offense. Last week, like I said, he didn't have a good week. But the previous 3 weeks in a row, week 2, he caught 6 of 9 targets for 91 yards, a touchdown, 18 fantasy points. Week 3, caught 6 of 7 targets for 132 yards, a touchdown, 23 fantasy points. Week 4, 11 catches out of 15 targets for 100 yards, 15 fantasy points. So for the most part of this season, the guy has been consistent at a very fair price tag. He's like $6,300, I think. I just think that it's a very, it's a good buy low opportunity for him. If he's going to have another good week, and his prices are probably going to be, low 7,000s. So this is a great opportunity for Tyler Boyd in a shootout against Pittsburgh.
So Mohamed Sanu last week, Falcons number 2 wide receiver, 4 catches, 73 yards and a touchdown, gets you 15.3 fantasy points. Pittsburgh's 20th in DVOA against wide receiver number 2s. This is another wide receiver who's in that $6,000 price range. I really like all of these wide receivers in that $6,000 to $7,000 price range this week. I think he's just another guy that's in that range that you can go to. Really good week for the mid-tier wide receiver.
Yeah, for sure. There's some really good plays.
So I'll finish this thing off with my number 3 pick, and I'm going to go with a guy who's priced, I think, really fairly for the production. I think he will go a little bit under-owned this week, and that's Mike Evans. Mike Evans is quietly having a really steady year. 3 touchdown receptions already this year. You look at his targets, 9, 11, 12, and 7 reception-wise. 6, 10, and 7. He's had 2 really huge games with 147-yard game in the opening week versus New Orleans. Had 137 yards against Pittsburgh and a touchdown. So his lowest output was against Chicago. He only had 8.9 fantasy points in that one on 6 receptions. Chicago is the number 2 defense overall. So Chicago is not, it's not like he put up a dud against a really bad team against the pass. Atlanta's not good against the pass. We saw that last week, evidenced by Antonio Brown getting back on track. Last week, you take a look at Antonio Brown, 13 targets, 6 receptions, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans is just a beast. Mike Evans, from just a physical specimen, the guy is the only knock on Mike Evans is the drops, right? Mike Evans will drop a lot of balls, and that can be something really frustrating in playing Mike Evans is he can have some wide open opportunities and just straight up drop the ball. But I like this spot for him. I like him in tournaments a lot at $8,000. You look at where he's at with price in the range of Julio Jones, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Juju Smith-Schuster. So I like Mike Evans this week a lot. I like him in the matchup against Atlanta. I think he has a really solid week this week.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great play. Atlanta showed us they suck on defense. It is what it is. There's not really no way of sugarcoating it. Mike Evans, the past, 3 years, he's always ended up every single year in the top 5, wide receivers every single year, and he never gets his respect. And he's a guy that he's gonna get lost in the bunch with all those other guys in his price tier that you mentioned, and he's gonna be low owned, and he has just as much upside, if not more upside, than any of them. So I definitely think that he's a solid GPP player for sure. So me, just finishing this off, I'm gonna go with Chester Rogers for the Indianapolis Colts. 5,700 on FanDuel. Hilton, it looks like he's going to be out again with the hamstring. Doyle is for sure. I mean, I think he's honestly out already, going to be ruled out. Chester Rogers, he stepped into that role with, no Hilton. Past 2 weeks in a row, he's got 11 targets and he's caught at least 8 balls in both of those games. He hasn't got a TD yet, so he's due to get a TD. Especially if he's going to get 11 targets a game, he's going to find the end zone sooner than later. I definitely think this is a great spot for him to do that. Going against the Jets, I mean, the Jets just aren't a very good team to me. So I think this is a good spot for Chester Rogers. Back-to-back weeks of 14 and 11 fantasy points, 5,700 price tag. I definitely think he's going to give you a solid floor.
Not really on my radar this week. I get the play. I get the opportunity he has. I get that he's had the 11 targets in back-to-back weeks. I think the Jets are a little bit better of a defense than we think they are. Their corners are actually really good against wide receiver number 1, so I would like to pick less if T.Y. Hilton didn't play. If T.Y. Hilton plays, they're 17th overall against wide receiver number 2. I'm sorry, they're 18th overall against wide receiver number 2s. I would like him better in that situation. Just not a guy that I'm on. I'd have to probably look a little bit more into the play. I think there's a couple other guys in that range. I think he's a really good GPP play because he'll be somebody that's probably not owned in a game that won't get too much attention. But I definitely understand the play, especially with the opportunity he has there. I just think in this situation for me, the guy that I'd be looking at is the guy you hit on earlier in our tight end video, and that's Ebron. I think if T.Y. Hilton doesn't go, the guy I really like would be the trusted tight end spot for Andrew Luck. We'll just have to see how that goes, though.
My thing, too, is this. I mean, you got to look, though, what's going on in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck is having to throw the ball 50 times a game. You know what I mean? And he can't
throw it 58 times in the game against New England.
Can't throw it 58 times at Ebron. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
So if those guys are out, Chester's going to get 12 to 14 throws if he's throwing 50 times. And that's just kind of the way I'm looking at it at an under 6,000 price tag. I mean, it just makes sense for me personally.
The thing is, and even if you look at the completions for Luck, I think it was 38 of 58 or 38 of 59. The game before that against Houston, he threw it 62 times. And then I want to say week 1 against Cincinnati, he threw it like 55 times or 54 times, something like that. The completion percentage is not really high. I want to say he was like 39 of 62 versus Houston. He's completing the ball at a very low clip. He's throwing for a lot of yards, that's for sure. I'm just not, I think Chester Rogers at $5,700 is a good tournament play. I'm not sure how much I trust him in cash. I think I like him more, like I said, if T.Y. Hilton played, I think he'd get a better matchup in that game. If T.Y. Hilton doesn't play, he's a wide receiver number 1 going against their best corner.
Yeah, I definitely like it's early in the week, so we got a lot that we definitely got to wait on. So we got any questions? We good on this wide receiver video?
We got it looks like a season-long question asking about trading away Kamara for Julio. Wants to know if we think that was a mistake. And then second question would be on the Thursday through Monday slate about Shepard. If Ingram is back, and would you pick Ingram or Ertz as a tight end? I think I'll let you take the tight end question because you're really big on Ertz.
Yeah, so is it just straight up I could pick Ertz or who was it?
Ingram or Ertz at tight end.
Oh, you got to take Ertz all day. I mean, Ertz is the top tight end in the league. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. He's getting, double-digit targets every single week. I was actually a little bummed out that I couldn't play him this week. You know what I mean? I like him in this spot going against the Giants. The Giants' defense isn't very good. So if I had the money to pick either one, no doubt about it, I would go with Ertz for sure.
And then with the season long pick, I think picking up Julio in exchange for Kamara at this point is a decent trade. Time will tell if you came out on the top side of that. I think with Mark, they pretty much showed how they'll use Kamara on Monday night, last night. Mark Ingram's definitely going to be the red zone back. He's going to be the bang it between the tackles guy. It's going to limit Kamara's opportunities. It's just the way their offense runs. Kamara's going to be more of a receiving running back, a third down guy. They'll find some special ways to use him. Sean Payton's very creative. But I think as a whole, and not knowing who's on the rest of your roster, I don't have any problem with the Julio for Kamara trade. I think you got Julio in kind of a buy low opportunity because he hasn't had the monster games that Julio Jones is capable of having yet. Last question that we've got. Actually, a couple more. Actually, no, it's just okay. One more. Any Ravens wide receiver up against the Titans this week? What I'll say about that is I like to look at DVOA, and when you start looking at DVOA, Tennessee's 30th against wide receiver number ones. I would play Michael Crabtree for sure. I think he's the move the chains guy. Has the ability to bust a big play.
I'm really high on Crabtree this week, especially on DraftKings. He's only 4,700 on DraftKings, bro. That's like equal to FanDuel price, and that's like 5,500 on FanDuel. Like, they're just not showing the guy any respect. So I actually really do like Michael Crabtree this week. I'm pretty high on him for sure.
Yeah, so the other guy that is playable in that situation is Willie Snead. Willie Snead at 5,400, a little bit of a discount than Crabtree, who comes in at 6,200 on FanDuel. Seen between 5 and 8 targets per game so far. He's kind of there again. You're kind of move the chains wide receiver, but against wide receiver number ones, like I said, they're 30th in the league in DVOA. Michael Crabtree, I think, is 6,200. He falls into that same price point that I've been talking about, that $6,000 price range. You've got a loaded group of wide receivers who are in really good spots in that $6,000 price range.
Yeah, no, definitely. So like I said, I mean, if I wasn't looking at any of them, it would be Crabtree for sure.
Last question just came in. Daniel Boston would like to know how long do you think Fournette will be out, and should he trade him in his season long?
I mean,
that's a touchy situation, man, to be honest with you. You look at Fournette, the guy's full of talent, right? I mean, he's a really talented running back. He's not expected to return this week. I don't know what you're talking about, a running back for one. And here's something that is really interesting about the NFL. The 100-yard rusher versus the 300-yard passer. There are way more 300-yard passers in the NFL right now than there are 100-yard rushers, right? We're not in an era of being short on quarterbacks, and the way the league is going is nuts. Last night's a good indication of where the league is at. You got a 27-point lead. You're the New Orleans Saints, and you don't have any backups in, and you are still running your offense in the fourth quarter down to the 2-minute warning, right? If you can get pieces for Leonard, that you have to weigh what you get in return. Another thing to think about here is, I don't know if you have Yeldon or the other back, but I would probably move Fournette if I could. I mean, I may have moved him 2 weeks ago and tried to move him or 3 weeks ago and tried to move him for maybe Le'Veon Bell and hope Bell came back, because it's kind of the same situation. I think you're going to get a healthy Le'Veon Bell. Whereas Fournette, this could go on all year. He could play a game. It kind of went on last year with the ankles, right? I mean, the ankles, the hamstrings, the guy just can't stay healthy, and that's not usually a good sign for a running back in the NFL.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's all about what can you get for him. But if you're going to get something decent in return for a Fournette, I mean, instead of having to wait week in and week out about, if he's going to play or not, I'm with you. If you get something solid for him, I definitely would make the trade for sure.
Smallwood, Clement, Jones, or Morris. I would stay away from Morris. Man, I'd stay away from Smallwood and Clement. I think that I'd be looking for something. I don't know what your roster looks like, Eric, as far as your running back situation goes. So I can't really answer that in full. I'd have to have more information to really give you a better answer, man.
Yeah, if you want, tomorrow we're going to be back with our running back video. Give us a little bit more detail on the question, and then we'll definitely get that answered for you. And if you guys have any questions, hit us up. Every single video, at the end of the video, we're answering any fantasy questions that you guys want. We'll be back tomorrow with our running back video. If you got questions, have them ready. Hit us in the comment section and we'll get to them. Make sure and check out that NBA pre-order special that we got going. Limited spots remain. And hey, we'll talk to you guys.
He says before we get out, I kind of want to help this guy out. He has Dalvin and Mixon. You got Mixon, who's a really solid running back. Don't know what, Dalvin Cook, another running back who's got leg issues. It's difficult. I'll put it to you like this, man. I think running back, and I'll kind of boil it down real simple for you, man. In the past, if you play fantasy baseball in a traditional fantasy baseball league, starting pitching, you can kind of move and use the waiver wire to pick up starters and really stack your roster up in other spots. That may be how I would play my annual league now at the running back position. I would, maybe try to get one solid running back and then just look week to week who's available on that waiver wire and try to fill my second running back spot. If you can move running backs and get better pieces to upgrade your team in annual league, I think that's a good way to go about that as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we good?
Another question came in about the Bears defense. We covered the Bears defense, like them a lot. Jordan Howard was the question about playing Jordan Howard. We'll hit running backs tomorrow, so stay tuned for that one, Daniel.
All right. Hey, so we'll talk to you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with that running back video. Make sure to stay tuned for that. And hey, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.